flagpole live from downtown Broadway, 64 Broadway, in fact, where the old Lauermans used to be. This is now the home of the Flag, the new station that's just opened up a week ago. A week ago tonight, in fact, a week ago today, they had their launch. So you're in on the ground of something new, that something is really developed, something really fun and exciting in Fargo that's going to have a big reach. The Flagpole is the evening program that's going to bring people together, so you get to know who's here in our Broadway area, downtown in Fargo Moorhead, and you'll get to know some of the business folks, some of the customers, some of the interesting characters, some of the artists, some of the musicians, and me. So I'm going to continue on this journey. At the moment, we have Carl Aabye in the studio. We're visiting about his books. We're taking your calls if you'd like to join up. It's 271-1100 or toll-free 888-598-8464. Again, John Strand, your guest host. And Carl Aabye, you have a truck driving around town with, you can't miss this big white truck that has this big placard or billboard on the side that promotes your books. You're kind of a guerrilla marketing kind of guy too, aren't you?
That's right. I've had to learn some of those things when I got into this game. I had to learn how to operate a computer a little bit, and because I used to try to get my some of my children to type up my chicken scratching writing, and a friend of mine, my publisher from last two books, Mike Steele, has been very good at helping me, sticking with me along the way for marketing, and we get on the internet and we try everything. But it's I always say it's tough. It's hard to be a prophet in your own hometown, and I sure wish I knew.
Hard to make a prophet?
It's hard to be a prophet. Yeah, there you go, John. I'm not the best listener, but I sure can talk. But yeah, that's right.
Carl, that's what I like about what you're doing and that's part of what we're doing here in this studio, and that's part of my experience with the High Plains Reader. We're going out there, we're taking risks, and we're doing something. We're trying it. We're not sure it'll work, but it's the entrepreneurial spirit of it all, and putting yourself out there. A lot of people want to write a book, but you've written 3 now.
Yeah, that's right. How did I ever do that?
How did you ever do that? That's really exciting. So Terrorists Among Us is kind of frightening. Terrorists Among Us is kind of an interesting, frightening, scary, contemporary.
But actually, the title is, I guess I turned in about 30, 40 titles. I might have heard that one half asleep listening to the radio some night. I don't know, because there's some other titles very similar to mine. I actually wanted it amongst instead of among us, I guess, which is an old English similar word. But anyway, the title is scary, but the book actually has a degree of hope in it.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
So it doesn't just leave you hanging like dismally going,
well, it shows though what could happen. But it shows what. Now I've noticed people are asking.
What do you mean? Let's go there. What could happen? What do you mean?
Well, in this story, I had them coming into supposedly to go into New York with a radioactive dirty bomb. They're going to put it in a stainless steel food cart that would probably blow radioactive material all over Manhattan. The guys, I'll be back with my special salsa sauce. I'll be back in half an hour with my special salsa sauce. Food vending, I don't know how that would have worked. I had foam-filled tires so the tires wouldn't go flat, tied it up at a certain spot, set it off with a cell phone, and the panic would have been tremendous. But now I heard tonight on your news that they have a lot of radioactive equipment in Manhattan and checks all the license plates that come into Manhattan. That 13-mile peninsula with many bridges and whatnot. So, people want me to do a sequel. I don't know if I got that much time in life.
So, Carl, have you ever been visited by Homeland Security?
Well,
you want to find out, are you really from here?
I guess I could be paranoid enough to sometimes wonder, but I won't go into that. I hope not.
How do you go about, is it when you wake up at 2 in the morning, or when you're having coffee, like, Harry Potter writing on tissue paper like you are right now? You have notepads or scribbles in front of you.
Yeah, I'm just scribbling.
How do you do it?
Well, I read I like to read newspapers, and I read an article written by a lady, I can't remember her name, in Minneapolis, talking about matricula consular. We're going to have a meeting there, and that was kind of an aid to illegals where they could go through the Mexican consulate. They'd have a picture, the government would know who they were, and they could pay taxes. And I thought, that's a de facto citizenship. And I thought, if people from the Middle East think, geez, if we could just come in as illegal Mexicans, get a matricula card, maybe we get a driver's license, and we can operate without, and that way, if they're caught, And if they are caught as illegal, they'll just have their hand slapped and sent back across the border. But if they're caught as a subversive from the Middle East, they'll be locked up as have the key thrown away. Anyway, I didn't articulate that the best, but I think they know what I'm trying to say.
So you conjecture on these types of scenarios.
Right.
What worries you about what's going on right now? What kind of things do you see coming that we don't see?
Well, I don't want to scare anybody, and I think a lot of people could do that. But maybe let's hope that maybe if you're the bully or the toughest kid around, and eventually through history that changes. Is there any way? I don't want to sound like an Obama supporter, because I guess he's trying to give hope that he talks as if he wants to take a different way to get respect and lead by example. Isn't that a good way to do it? Even in your own family, you can have problems with different children. I was a black sheep in my family, but if your folks or whatever lead by example, won't you kind of pick up on that sometimes? And might that not be a good way to do things?
Carl, you always vote, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I do.
You always have a sense of what's happening politically.
I hope so.
Do you think that other people have enough sense, or not to judge them, but how would you spur them on to get more engaged?
Boy, I don't want to underestimate the public or people, but I mean, sometimes you shake your head and you wonder. But I understand a lot of young people are becoming interested, and well, they should.
Those young folks, through my business, I get to see a lot of young college kids and work with them. And one time I had a really bright young fellow say to me, "John, you don't understand. People my age look at it, and we don't see two parties. They're all the same. We see one system. And I go, what an interesting perspective."
Yeah. Well, there is something to that. But I mean, what are the chances of a third party making it? Although it's certainly, at my old age, at this stage in life, it sure would be interesting to watch.
You can in Minnesota for governor or something, but you can't for the presidency with the Electoral College, I suppose.
Well, it'd be tough. But if difficult times can cause interesting actions to take place. So, as they say, stay tuned.
So what are you working on now for writing? And
I've got a lot of ideas on things I could do, but I'm just trying to spend more of my efforts on marketing and promoting what I have, and then, God willing, I stay healthy enough to go back into doing some more stuff. But I'm hoping that somewhere a little prairie fires will catch hold somewhere, because I like to think that I have something of value. I hope I do.
Now, your first book, when it came off the press and you had it in your hands, you must have felt pretty proud, Carl.
Well, I felt some pride.
Absolutely. I mean, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah, it's something, isn't it?
I have a signed copy of your book in my office. I won't accept it from anybody unless it's signed, and I go, wow, well, your first book.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll do a little self-promotion here. If they go to Barnes & Noble, on the Google it, put my name in, Carl Aabye, Carlaabye, they'll see reviews on two of my books, and one of my books is on Amazon. But even on Barnes & Noble there, they've got 4 used on Terrorist Among Us. The prices are about $5, $5.25. One was 94 something. I thought it was a typo. I laughed. A misprint. A little while later, they got to have another one for 99. Of course, asking and receiving is completely two different things. But they're in Miami, and you can look it up on the internet. Apparently, they're considered first edition book. So I guess I'm going to appeal to the greed factor out there, folks. Did you hear that? Check that out.
So we can go get your book at Amazon.com?
Yeah, right, you can, and then at Barnes & Noble.
At Barnes & Noble here in Fargo?
Well, they're not at the store, but if you go to the store in Fargo, tell them what you're looking for, and they'll order it for you.
Can they get it from you too, these books?
They can get them from me too.
So look for Carl Aabye and his big white truck downtown?
Right, and also I should mention that they're at Zambros too.
That's a good one there, right,
Yeah.
right down the street. So Carl,
right.
Do you have a website or an email address?
Yeah, thank you, John. If you go to www.carlaabye.books.com, I'll just spell that out again, my name, all in one word for whatever those addresses are. www.carlaabyebookes.com. That's my website. And if they Google or Yahoo my name, that'll lead them to who knows what. They'll have an interesting time.
And you're hard to miss on Broadway. You kind of look like Santa Claus. We're going to take a break.
That's right.
Thank you for coming into
Well,
the studio.
thank you, John. Thanks.
It's a pleasure to see what you're doing and to see the fires you're lighting and to see the risk-taking you're embarking upon and succeeding with.
Oh, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
We're going to take a break with the flagpole and come back, and this is going to be fun.